Magandang umaga at maraming salamat sa lahat ng kaibigan natin from the media na kasama po natin ngayong umaga. At formal po nating binuksan na ang ating virtual press conference. At sa panimula ay nakita po ninyo yung 2 minutes video clip ni dating Comelec Chairman Sixto Boy Brillantes na malinaw na ipinapaliwanag kung ano yung importansya at kahulugan ng aming third course of action, which calls for the annulment of the election results in the 3 provinces of Mindanao. At ngayong umaga ay formal na rin hong sinampa ni Senador Bongbong Marcos ang kanyang motion, ang a strong manifestation with extremely urgent motion for Associate Justice Marvic Leonen to inhibit himself from the election protest. Pangalawa po ay upang i-raffle ang election protest. At pangatlo ay upang resolbahin na lahat ng pending incidents patungkol sa kasong ito. And kami po ay mindful at alam ho namin yung sub judice rule at yung existing gag order. Kaya po marapatin ho ninyo na ang ating pag-usapan lamang ay ang pagpa-file ng motion ngayong umaga ni Senador Bongbong Marcos. At i-turn over ko na ho ang ating proceeding kay Senador Bongbong Marcos para sa kanyang mensahe at inyong mga katanungan.
Thank you, Vic. Yes, kagaya ng sabi ni Attorney Vic, nag-file ako kaninang umaga ng extreme urgent omnibus motion for, number 1, the inhibition of Associate Justice Mario Victor F. Leonen. Number 2, na i-raffle of this election protest. And number 3, the resolution of all the pending incidents in the above entitled case. I believe na mabibigyan kayo ng kopya nitong yung actual na omnibus motion that we filed today. Shall we? Pwede na siguro just open the questions. Kaya namin inuna yung video ni dating Chairman Boy Brillantes dahil yan ang pinakamagandang paliwanag na nakita ko kung ano ang kaibahan ng failure of election at ng annulment of election. Bakit natin napapag-usapan yan? Napapag-usapan natin yan dahil ang press, panay ang pinag-uusapan ay failure of election. Pinag-uusapan pa raw na wala na yung na-dismiss na yung mga failure of election sa Comelec. Number 1, wala kaming hinihingi na failure ng election sa buong prosesong ito. I don't know why yan ang we have never asked for a failure of election we have never had a petition for failure of election. We have only filed a protest. That's why it went to the PET. Yung mga failure of election na dismiss na sinasabi nila, na dismiss yan dahil local ang nag-file ng mga yan at naging moot and academic dahil may eleksyon na. So wala talagang connection. So I hope that yung video ni Chairman Brillantes will at least explain na there's no use talking about failure of elections because it's totally irrelevant to what we are doing now. That's why we show you that video. All right, I think we can open to questions already.
Yeah, si Ms. Tina Pangalinan Perez of GMA7, ma'am.
Sir, good morning po.
Good morning.
Sir, bakit ngayon nyo lang po final yung motion para sa inhibition po ni Justice Leonen?
Dahil talagang the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Marami na nag-advise sa akin na mag-file ako nitong inhibition. Sabi ko, but you must let the process go on. Pero yun na nga, because after the pandemic, nakapag-function ulit ang judiciary, wala pa rin ginawa ang si Justice Leonen para dito sa kasong ito. Tapos, nung humingi lang siya ng comments sa Comelec at saka sa Solgen's office tungkol sa jurisdiction ng PET, at lalo na nung sinagot na siya na talagang ang jurisdiction maliwanag ang jurisdiction ng PET ng Supreme Court sitting as the Presidential Electoral Tribunal, maliwanag that they have jurisdiction. At nagtataka na nga ang lahat, bakit pa niya tinanong yan nang maliwanag na ang jurisdiction at they've been hearing this case for 4.5 years. Why will they hear the case for 4.5 years if they don't have jurisdiction? Kaya't naging maliwanag sa akin na ang dahilan kung bakit niya hiningan ng comment ay para mag-delay ulit. At imposible para sa akin na hindi niya nalalaman, isang justice ng Supreme Court, hindi nalalaman ang batas tungkol dyan. Hihingi tungkol sa jurisdiction, hihingi tungkol sa special elections. The law is quite clear. And again, the PET has been functioning as the Presidential Electoral Tribunal for 4.5 years, hearing this case. Ito lang ang kaso nila. Ang Presidential Electoral Tribunal, ito lang ang kaso na nasa harap sa kanila. And they've been hearing it for 4.5 years. Siguro, pag nagtanong ka after 4.5 years, if we have in fact jurisdiction, then that is clearly a delaying tactic. So sabi ko that's too much already because parating na tayo sa filing in October, next October, kailangan na we have to do something. Dahil very clear that Justice Leonen has prejudged this case, is hostile to me, to my family, to our entire group, if you want to call it that. And we have seen many other instances where he has expressed an opinion against the Marcoses, in me in particular, and the Marcoses in general. Most of all, of course, my father. So maliwanag na maliwanag, he's prejudiced, and that's why we had to file this.
Sir, follow-up lang po. You mentioned that yung ginagawa po ni Justice Leonen would further delay your case, but won't your filing the motion today add to that delay?
Well, put it this way. If Justice Leonen continues to sit as the justice in charge, for sure, it will be delayed. For sure. At least, pag wala na si Justice Leonen, kung mag-inhibit siya, may pag-asa na hindi na ma-delay. May pag-asang matatapos in time. Pag si Justice Leonen na naka-in-charge dyan, sa aking pananaw, imposibleng matatapos ito in time. Pipilitin niya, ipipuwersa niyang abutin ang filing para maging moot and academic. Yun talagang 11 months, walang ginawa, walang sinulat, walang linabas na desisyon, walang order kahit na no. For 11 months. For 11 months. They call it 1 year. Kasi 1 year. Kasi yung pag-order niya ng comment, naging 1 year na wala talagang ginawa. Hindi niya pinapagalaw yung kaso.
Thank you, Tina. We'll now proceed kay Anjo of CNN. Hi, Anjo.
Hi, good morning, sirs.
Good morning.
Sir, I understand this isn't the first time that you sought an inhibition of a justice. You already did that kay Justice Kagiwa, but PET also denied that. Now, how confident are you that this time around that this motion of yours will prosper?
Well, it is something that we had to do. Justice Leonen left us with no choice but to do this. I did not file a protest. I did not enter into a protest to impeach or to inhibit anyone. I only filed these para lumabas ang katotohanan doon sa eleksyon. I'm not interested in these legal maneuvers. All I want is for this case to be finished before it becomes moot and academic. So the instance with Justice Kagiwa, maybe the circumstances were slightly different, pero ito naging urgent na talaga. Kaya we filed it again, and we hope that I think the advice that is given to the justices when they are asked to inhibit is as a proper self-examination of their actuations, and I hope he does that, because if he does, and if anyone else does it as well, you will see very clearly that he is biased, he is partisan, he is prejudiced.
Sir, just a follow-up. Sir, let's say Justice Leonen turns down your motion. I mean, what will be your next step? And sir, also sir, if he will inhibit and it will be referred to another justice, baka sir, baka maging perception ng iba, baka maging pattern yun na to na pag hindi na nagugustuhan yung pamamalakad ng isang justice in charge, baka you'll again call for an inhibition.
Well, we don't call for inhibition lightly. We do this because we have in our view, in my view, it is very clear that the justice is, it's not because of the decision the decisions that he's made in this case. It is because he has shown a pattern of prejudice, of bias, of partisanship. And you can see that the people that have come to his defense are all clearly on the other side of the political aisle from me. So that seems to explain the bias that he has exhibited over many years.
Thank you, Anjo. Siguro second round, Anjo. Next is Mike from ABS-CBN. Mike.
Let me just start my video and my audio. Hi, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I have to ask this. I hope you will answer this. There have been several observations, sir, about moves to try to oust Justice Leonen, not just from the PET, but from the Supreme Court itself. The threat of quo warranto from Attorney Gadon and from Solicitor General Jose Calida. These are supporters of yours, sir. And so many people are asking, are you supporting their moves to have Justice Leonen removed from the Supreme Court through a quo warranto because of supposedly his failure to file the SALN? Can you clarify that, sir?
I cannot, because I am in no discussions with the Soljan. So I don't know what his thinking is on the quo warranto case. So you will have to ask the Soljan about that. Yung kay Attorney Larry Gadon, inaawat ko nga siya. I was telling no, wag muna until lumabas nga yung comments dito sa galing sa Comelec at saka sa Soljan, naging maliwanag na panlilin lang talagang ginagawa ni Justice Leonen. So nag-file na siya ng ano na siya para sa SALN. But that si Attorney Gadon, we are in touch, nagte-text kami. Although the Soljan, we have not talked about this case. We do not talk about I have my own legal team. I do not need to consult with the Soljan. Besides, he's not a supporter of mine. He is the counsel for the state, for the government. So no, I don't think that you can characterize it that way.
But is he supporting, sir, your move to have Justice Leonen inhibit from the PET? Because based on the article by Jomar Canlas in the Manila Times, the lead is that the Solicitor General and former Senator Bongbong Marcos will join forces in seeking the inhibition of Justice Leonen. So that's at least that's the first sentence.
Well, you should ask the Soljan about what his plans are. If he does, in fact, move to support our motion, then it just means that he agrees with our arguments. I think that we are moving independently, and we have come to the same conclusions.
So there's no confirmation, sir, if both camps will join forces, at least coming from you. We just wanted to confirm the term join forces.
Join forces? Well, we will see. Ano bang gagawin ni Soljan pa? Wala pa tayong nakikitang galaw kay Soljan. So you'll have, as I said, I think that question is better addressed to the Solicitor General kaysa sa amin. Meron kaming strategy, meron kaming legal theory. I'm sure meron siya iba, but hindi ko masasabi sa inyo kung ano yung kanya. Masasabi ko lang yung sa amin.
All right, sir. Thank you. I have another question later for the second round.
Okay, sige, ikot tayo.
Nelson Badilla.
Nelson.
Hi, Nelson, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Good morning,
Good morning.
Senator Bongbong Marcos, and good morning, Attorney Vic Rodriguez. Nelson Badilla po, Saksi Ngayon. I just want to clarify, sir, assuming na your motion will be granted by the PET, particularly by Justice Leonen, then magrarapol po para sa next justice na magiging ponente ng inyong kaso. What will happen, sir? Mangyayari doon sa tatlong probinsya doon sa Mindanao, yung ba po ay i-annul yung votes magkakaroon na po ba ng annulment of votes? Then afterwards, kung meron silang ganun decision, is mai-proclaim na po kayo based on kung ano ang kung magiging positive kung magiging pabor sa inyo ang results ng annulment of votes.
Hindi, ang matagal na namin ang inuuna namin noon pa mula nung simula nito 4 years ago pa lang, sinasabi natin unahin niyo na yung pag-receive ng evidence tungkol sa aming request for annulment doon sa 3 probinsya. So yun talagang yun ang dinidelay dahil alam ni Justice Kagiwa, alam ni Justice Leonen na madali lang yan at maganda ang lagay ko pagka nagkaroon na ng technical examination para magkaroon ng ebidensya na dapat talaga yan ng mga boto. Maybe you can expand a bit on the legal procedure after his hypothetical.
Regarding our third cause of action, napaliwanag ho kanina during the opening video clip ni dating Committee Chair Sixto Boy Brillantes. At ang kahalagaan po nun, papakita ko po sa inyo itong sinasabing dactyloscopic and question document reports. Ang gumawa po nito mismo ay ang Commission on Election. Ito rin ho, yung nakapaloob doon sa video clip ni dating Chairman Sixto Brillantes. At dito po sa second page, nakalagay po rito ang technical findings, 40,528 ang were found not identical or negative. Ano po yung naging conclusion ng Commission on Election? Ito po nakasulat po rito, based on the findings stated above, we therefore conclude that the 2016 national, local, and armed elections has been marked with different forms of election fraud such as massive substituted voting. Kaya po tagal na po namin hinihingi na bigyan daan na itong aming third cause of action, which is the annulment of election results in the 3 provinces in Mindanao. We never, ulitin ko po yung sinabi ni Senator Bongbong Marcos, hindi po kami kailanman humingi ng deklarasyon of failure of election sapagkat klaro po kay Senator Bongbong Marcos na yung relief na failure of election, maaari lamang ho yan kapag wala pa hong napoproklamang kandidato. Subalit pag may naproklama na, ang tamang legal remedy or relief ay ito nga pong annulment of election results.
Yes, sir. Follow-up question na po. I'm sorry. Follow-up lang po doon. Meron po ba kayong idea what is the real purpose on the part of Vice President Robredo and yung LP kung bakit ang na-highlight sa media mostly ay yung point ng failure of elections and ginagamit po yung mga dahilan na na-dismiss na yung previous petitions regarding the failure of elections at hindi na-highlight yung annulment kasi ang napapansin ko po ay parang pinagpapare-parehas nila ang definition ng annulment of votes and failure of elections when in fact it is very clear in the law that there is a big sea of difference between the two motions po. Ano kaya po ang purpose nila po?
I cannot tell you definitively what their purpose is but I think it is to obfuscate the entire issue. Para guluhin lang, panlilin lang.
Okay.
Kasi talagang walang connection yung failure of election doon sa amin.
Yes po.
Pero yung pa rin ang pinupunterian nila. So that's the only purpose I can see that why they will continue to do that.
Opo.
Thank you, Nelson. Second
yes po. Salamat po.
Rappler is there.
Hi, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning. Can you see and hear me po?
I can hear you. I cannot see you. Oh, there. I can see you now. Good morning.
Good morning po, Attorney and Senator Bongbong Marcos. Sir, you seem to be really hammering on the definition of annulment of elections, and the OSG in its comments said that if the elections on those 3 provinces were to be annulled, the clear winner would emerge. So siguro you could elucidate on the process. Why didn't you file for an annulment of elections to begin with? Or why didn't you choose those 3 provinces as your pilot province?
We filed the annulment of the elections was part of our initial protest. Pero ginawa namin second cause yun kasi gusto namin unahin yan. Pero tinulak ni Justice Kagiwa, I just pushed it and pushed it and pushed it and pushed it kasi takot sila dyan sa ginawa nilang third cause. I'm not hammering on one thing or another. These are the only options left to me. And this is something that we have been talking about since, when did we file?
2016, June.
June. In 2016, hindi namin, yung pa rin, yun talagang gusto namin unahin is the annulment, that the PET received evidence that we're prepared to present, an evidence that will be grounds for the annulment of elections in those 3 provinces. It's not something new. It's what we've been talking about. But Justice Kagiwa and now Justice Leonen keep pushing it to the side and trying to focus on other things to distract, I suppose, from what is in fact the issue at hand.
Dagdag ko lang, is Rappler. Pwede nyo naman hong i-check doon sa files niyo nung aming election protest that was filed 4.5 years ago. Klaro po doon na yung aming first cause of action is the annulment of the automated election system or the declaration of the unconstitutionality of the AES system na dinismiss po ng Korte Suprema by reason of judicial economy. Ang second cause of action po talaga namin ay yung declaration of the annulment of the election results dito sa 3 probinsya ng Mindanao. Pangatlo lamang ho yung manual recount and judicial revision. Nandun po yan sa aming election na protest na i-file 4.5 years ago. Ang nangyari, after ng preliminary conference, nagkaroon ng pagbaliktad doon sa order ng aming relief. Ang naging pangalawa ng second cause of action bigla ay yung manual recount and judicial revision. At naging pangatlo, yung annulment of election results. Lais ko lang susugan yung video na ipinakita namin kanina. Alam ho namin na talagang dapat unahin yung annulment of election results sapagkat mas mabilis ang proseso doon kaysa yung manual recount and judicial revision. At marahil alam din ho ng nagbaliktad ng order na yan na mas matagal yung manual recount and judicial revision kaya inuna at ginawang huli yung aming third cause of action na ngayon, which is the annulment of the election results. Wala ho kaming binago and kagaya ng sinabi ni Senator Bongbong Marcos, we're not hammering on it. Ang sinasabi lang ho namin sa bayang pagdinig na noon pa.
Sir, can I just ask a follow-up?
Sure.
If you can po, the COMELEC also said in its comment that an additional requisite for an annulment of elections is that there must be a clear, convincing, and strong evidence showing that the protestee is the one responsible for the unlawful acts complained of. Are you ready with evidence to prove that the protestee is responsible for the unlawful acts? If ever.
Can I remind you that this is a sub judice? You're talking already about the merits.
Okay, maybe I can ask another
Hindi
later.
Hindi na pwede pag-usapan yan. Baka ma-contempt ka.
We'll just confine ourselves sa motion na final ni Senador Marcos ngayong umaga. Mike Navarro for the second round, please. Mike?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I was muted.
Sorry.
Sorry. Sir, let me just go to that point. You mentioned that it's irrelevant, the failure of the elections, the declaration of failure of elections petitions in the ARM provinces is not relevant to the annulment of votes, which you raised before the PET. But your motion for technical exam, which was also your basis for annulment, you cited the case of Abdusapurtan versus Hataman. This is a local case where you cited the words of a COMELEC division. The conclusion was that supposedly the 2016 national local ARMM elections was marred by widespread fraud. Well, first, sir, in that case, wasn't it the Marcos side who actually invoked a local case, the case of Hataman, to argue in the annulment case? And also, secondly,
no. Let's answer that first.
Okay, sir, go ahead.
Let me clear that, Mike. We did not invoke the local election case. Nagkataon lang na ang saklaw ng aming protesta, yung aming originally second cause of action, na ngayon nga ay naging third cause of action, ay yung 3 probinsya rin sa Mindanao at sa Cloud din yung mga presintong involved doon sa kaso, yung election protest case 2016-37 ni Sakurtan versus Mujib Hataman. Nagkataon na parehong-pareho yung areas covered. But we are not dependent on the outcome of that local election protest. Pareho lang yung saklaw in terms of the provinces involved.
And so, sir, yung comment ng COMELEC, if I may just ask you to react, if you're going to also make the same point, no? Because COMELEC said in its comment na that case was not resolved on the merits because it was dismissed due to mootness. So how will that affect your point, sir?
It won't, because the findings of the COMELEC still stand. Their findings after conducting the technical examination in the case of Governor Sakurtan against Governor Mujib Hataman still stand. What we would like is for us to present that evidence and those findings of the COMELEC to the PET so that we can argue as to the propriety of the annulment of elections in those three provinces.
Sir, so you disagree with the conclusion of COMELEC? If I may read, sir, the commission, be it with any of its division or unbanked, did not have the opportunity to rule upon such findings or otherwise pass upon its validity, merit, and probative value. You don't agree with the COMELEC?
Because Mike, naging moot and academic, yung local case na yun.
Hindi na nakapag-decide dahil nag-eleksyon na eh.
Yes.
And ang pakiramdam ko nga, ganito yung ginagawa rin sa akin. Na tinutulak, dinedelay para maging moot din. Again, to repeat myself, although it was not resolved, that case was not resolved, the findings, the technical examination of the COMELEC are still available and are still valid. And that's part of the evidence that we would like to present to the court. Ano bang mawawala? Let's present the evidence. Kung sa palagay nila hindi sapat para mag-anal, mag-decide sila. Pero pabayaan kami 4.5 years ito. They just refuse to accept and to receive evidence and for us to argue on that ground. That is why it is clear to me that ang ginagawa talaga ay hindi na adjudication kung hindi delay.
Do you think, sir, there is still enough time, sir? Based on your experience, Attorney Rodriguez, how long does it take for the PET, for example, to resolve, assuming that they continue with the third cause of action, annulment of elections? How long will it take? Because they're saying you have to count per every precinct, there has to be at least more than 50% of the votes affected by supposedly allegations of fraud. And that from every precinct, you go to the municipality level and the province level and region-wide. Is there enough time, sir?
We believe so, Mike. In fact, itong findings na ito, yung pinakikita ko sa inyo, all we have to do is just adopt these initial findings made by the COMELEC, and then kung ano man ang magiging ruling ng tribunal na magpresenta pa kami ng additional evidence, just so to meet the 50+1% threshold, then mas mabilis na ho yan. I think may mahaba pa yung panahon basta't wala lang delay. That's why we have resorted to this very drastic move of asking for the inhibition of Associate Justice Marvic Leonen as the ponente or justice in charge of the case, and for him to not to participate in any manner in this election protest case anymore.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, ladies and gentlemen? If there's none,
wala na. All right. Well, thank you very much. We just wanted to come out and explain to everybody what we have done today. I hope that you take this into account, especially ang ating mga kaibigan sa press, to be more accurate in terms of your reporting as to what is actually happening. I'm speaking specifically to the differences between an annulment of an election and a failure of election. We have nothing to do with any petition of any failure of election. That's never been what we have asked for. What we have asked for is completely different. So failure of election is totally irrelevant to my case, my protest case. But having made that clear, I hope that, as I said, that Justice Leonen will really go into a period of self-examination and to see and to convince himself whether or not he has been biased or he has been fair. In my view, he has been completely biased. He has been completely partisan. He has prejudged this case a long time ago. And that is why we filed this. On that, let's end the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Maraming
much.
salamat. Magandang umaga sa inyo lahat.